prosecutorial powers. First of all, I don't think that the Auditor General himself can go to court, because he's not a lawyer. I am tempted to believe that they will still rely on the staff of the Attorney General. And so I would want to see more detailed, enhanced collaboration between the Auditor General and the Attorney General's office. And whoever infringes on the law ought to be punished. In fact, all of us believe that we must contribute towards the fight against corruption. All of us believe that the essence of accountability is very, very paramount. In fact, you cannot be a minister or agree to serve the state without subjecting yourself to scrutiny and to accountability. And so let me put on record that we support fully, wholeheartedly, any attempt to investigate and to peruse and to subject our administration to whatever scrutiny that one would want to. But I have read the report, Randy. It's a 590-page report.
Okay.
I've specifically taken time to read the aspect of the Ministry of Energy. They deal with about 31 cases, and they've boxed what they call sundry cases into one. That is those petty cases. And I've looked at them clearly. I've also decided to go back and look at what we discussed. You recall that we sat here and had a discussion when the Statesman and the Daily Graphic published 700 million at that time, that the Ministry of Energy had issues with 700 million. Now that has reduced to 300 million. You do recall that they even mentioned a specific company, Africano, and indicated that we had overpaid Africano by 1 million, which I took serious issues with, because I gave you an explanation of how the Ministry of Energy works. It's one of the most efficient ministries, in my opinion. We have internal audit, director of finance, all the staff, and if you come there and you see how contracts are awarded, the procedure and the processes, how detailed is it, the legal office and all those people involved. I sat here and said I disagree that those liabilities were coming up. And I was very, very emphatic. Now, reading the final report, when I read the final report, Randy, Africano is listed among 5 companies. Here you have it. Come on, this Africano Electro, 160,000. Based on the aforementioned, we certified an amount of 67,535,129 as valid as at 31st December 2016 in favor of the 5 contractors. These are the 5 contractors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Africano is part of it. But the earlier story by the Statesman, and no less a paper than the Daily Graphic, they created the impression that we had overpaid Africano by 1.6 million. And out there, people were lambasting us and chastising us. Now it has come to fore that it is not true. Let's put that aside. Now if you read the document says that to ascertain the veracity of this 11 million, the Ministry of Finance submitted all the documents to them in July 2017. And it's there. July 2017, the actual review of MDAs was started from the 24th of July 2017 and lasted for 2 weeks.
So this whole exercise was an exercise that was conducted in July of 2017.
2017.
Okay.
And that's...
So all documents that were presented to the Auditor General were presented to the Auditor General in 2017.
They are here. Documents obtained from the Controller and Accountant General's office and the Ministry of Finance, and they give the dates. List of 2016 outstanding claims paid as at 21st July 2017.
Okay.
So they are not just looking at 2016. They've taken documents including payments made
that were made in the year
2017 July to validate 2016. First of all, I have a problem with that.
Why?
You should have validated as of July 2017. Why would you decide that you want to validate up to 31st December 2017, but take into account payments made in July 2017?
Could it not be because of the financial year?
Look, what they say is that the new minister got claims. And you recall that the president told us that some 20% had been paid to contractors generally, pending further investigation. So the Minister of Finance says that, look, I'm Minister of Finance. All MDAs, all ministries, bring me your liabilities. So if you take Ministry of Energy, the current minister would have then sent the liabilities to them to say that these are the outstanding liabilities. And then the Minister of Finance says, no, I want to peruse them. I want to use the give me system to determine the authenticity of the claim. So the first question is that, what due diligence did the various ministries do before submitting the claims?
Maybe they just forwarded.
That is most unfortunate. You can't do that.
But that's why the Auditor General also raises the issue of internal audit.
I'm coming there.
Okay.
You can't do that.
Okay.
First of all, if you have proper record keeping, and I'm telling you that at the Ministry of Energy, there are proper record keeping. In my office alone, if you go to my office as deputy, and you ask my secretary to pull every contract document, every payment, she should be able to do that for you. If you go to the legal office, and you ask them, they should be able to do that. If you go to the internal audit, they should be able to do that. If you go to the minister's office, they should be able to do that. If you go to the chief director's office, they should be able to do that. Because we took a policy that let's back them up. All these offices must have copies of every transaction we go through, from inception to award to delivery and to payment. And if you want to get delivery, the records, you go to materials unit, you will get that. And the contractors also keep copies of their documents. So this idea that they can't find documents in the ministries, that is why they submitted these invoices. I find that very flawed. In any case, on what documents did they base the argument on or their investigation before submitting the bills to the Ministry of Finance?
They just submitted the bills without accompanying documents.
You can't do that, Randy. Let's assume that you have a contract of 10 million. I'm the new minister, and I submit that we owe you 5 million. What's the basis for doing that?
Yeah.
There should be a basis.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the contract of 10 million was awarded. I'm saying that there's a liability of 5 million.
Before I forward that, I should have been convinced
Yes.
with documentary proof
I agree.
that indeed this claim has substance.
Yes.
I have seen it, and so I'm forwarding it to you for payment. I can't just forward it.
No, you can't do that. So that is the first thing. Two, for instance, they went to Ministry of Energy, 2 weeks they are done. So if the Auditor General can use 2 weeks to go and look at these records and validate them from January, February, March, April, May,
6.5
June,
months.
July, what were the staff of the Ministry of Energy doing?
6.5 months.
What kind of work is this? But you see, Kamal, I'm sorry to say this. This is nothing but political.
Why?
President Akufo-Addo told us when he met the press that there was a certain he saved some 5.7 billion and blamed the previous administration for that. So how do we justify that? Let's lump all these figures and take them there.
But
Of course
he referred to this document as the source of his information.
No, that's what I'm saying.
The document vindicates what he said. The conclusions you can disagree. The conclusions that the president arrived at, you can disagree. But at least this document says that claims of X were made, Y was validated, and therefore X have been rejected.
You see, it's important to put that, and that's why I say that as for the Auditor General, he's done his job. He's sitting, you brought him bills. That look, there's a claim of 11 billion. Check for me. He goes into the gift and says, oh, as of December, we had paid maybe 5 billion. So it cannot be. And I'm saying that, first of all, who told the Auditor General that there's 11 billion?
The MDAs.
Yes, in December, in July 2000. Why did they do that? And then you turn around and blame me. So the NPP administration claims that there's a liability of 11 billion. Within the NPP's administration, they do an audit and determine there's no 11 billion. And they try to blame the
If
NPP
I understand the
for
point you're making, for example, in the instance where the Auditor General says there was one particular MDA where all those claims had been paid. Now, if those claims have been paid, on what basis did that particular MDA submit the same bills in 2017 for payment?
You see, let me just give you another example. The Ministry of Energy, upon request from Ministry of Finance, asserted government was indebted to 13 consultants and contractors on an amount of 23 million. When that was done, it's left out. It's important for us to know, when did the Minister of Finance request the Ministry of Energy for these liabilities. And who is that minister who
It
said
was
that?
obviously in 2017.
17.
Yes.
Now listen. To ascertain the genuineness of this assertion, we reviewed the relevant documentation and noted the entire liability of 23 million was paid by Government of Ghana and ECG in the sum of 5 million and 17 million, respectively, as per the details below. And they give all the details of when it was paid, everything. Based on the aforementioned, we reject the claim of 23 million declared as liability. So, clearly, during my time, we paid them 23 million. We've paid them. The records are there. So why would you then submit another 23 million to the Minister of Finance in 2017? Reject it and then attempt to blame me. I think this is most unfortunate. And you see, assuming the Minister of Finance did not do this due diligence and decided to pay them, who would have occasioned the causing financial loss to the state?
In fact, where would the money have been paid to? It would have been paid to the MDAs today.
Yeah. So I don't look. If you read this, it's so unfortunate that look, we can reduce governance to this level, and I find this very, very unfortunate. I'm very sad that we come into office, and instead of us doing due diligence within, there's an internal auditor there, there's a director of finance there, there are project officials there. There's a legal directorate there in the Ministry of Energy.
Says all of them have been rendered impotent.
I don't think so.
Well, that's
I
what
don't
he says.
think so.
Generally, maybe at the Ministry of Energy, maybe at the Ministry of Energy, it's okay. But in other places,
absolutely.
Because I have sat
yes.
on a committee at one of the MDAs, and the internal audit, all they did was just to pass. They didn't even, when the internal auditor came to sit in front of us, I mean, it was a spectacle.
Wow.
Yeah, seriously. Yes, come on.
Yeah, Randy.
And you see, before you come in, we've made this point over and over again, that the figures might change.
Sure.
But let's go take the Auditor General's report for the last 20 years. We will find all these infractions.
Again, in there.
In there.
And what have we done?
Maybe it's the figures that
might
will
change.
Yes. But the nature of the infractions,
we may find some.
Same.
Kamal, just before Kamal, I just read one example and now end my case. Ministry of Energy. I don't think I should mention the name of the company.
Yes, yes.
You can see the name of the company.
Yeah.
The Ministry of Energy contracted so and so for the supply of pole top accessories in October 2014 at a contract sum of 39 million. Ministry of Energy, in response to Ministry of Finance's request in 2017, asserted the government was indebted to the company to an amount of 6 million as at December. To ascertain the veracity of the claim, we reviewed all the transactions, including the invoices and payments relating to company this, and noted that 2 payments totaling 36 million, PV number this slash that, and another PV number, MOP this, 15 million. Then the conclusion. Further reconciliation with management revealed that the actual balance in favor of the company was 1 million and not 6 million. This, you don't need external auditors to come and determine this.
It's very well. I think
the invoices are there. They've even quoted the check numbers. And it's on the give me system. So why would you submit to them that we rather owe 6 million when the records within your ministry, because the ministry they came to look at the records, shows that it's 1 million. And this is all over. And all of us are being described in all kinds of uncomplimentary terms. I find this most unfortunate. This is not how we fight corruption.
Right.
Randy, my brother John started off by saying that the Auditor General had done what he was supposed to do.
Yes.
And that it was proper for him to have done that. Except to add that he's gone through the report, he's read the entire report, and he thinks that there were some basic, if you like, accounting practices that ought to have been followed by, within certain ministries regarding their internal audit and all that, which he felt we fell short of that. We could have gotten this information. We could have gotten these corrections before maybe a submission is done for, if you like, payments. And if there has been some submission already, we could have even tracked that before it gets there. I think basically that's what John is seeking to say. But you see, we cannot poo-poo the